how to cycle your calories to fit around your lifestyle and or the weekend. And in one of my previous videos, I talked about this, and I talked about the weekday warrior who struggles with, they push themselves so hard during the week. They eat super low calorie, and then the weekend turns into this glorified cheat weekend and cheat binge. And it's not controlled. So one question I got a lot, and I mentioned I would cover this in a future video, and you guys really wanted this, was how to actually cycle your calories around your lifestyle and actually prepare for the weekend to where you have a lot more macros to play with and you can still reach your goals. But before we begin, please give the video a thumbs up. Please subscribe. We have so much more cool content coming. And as you're watching and listening to this video, please think of questions. Think of everything that comes to mind. Zach, I still don't understand this, or I would love to learn about this, or I think this would be an extension of this video and would help me understand this a little bit better. Leave me a comment below and let me know, because we are taking notes on this. We are taking notes on what you guys are struggling with, and we're gonna create content to help solve these problems. So first off, why would you actually want to cycle your calories around the weekend? Social situations happen during the weekends. We eat a lot more calories. We're not as busy because we're not in work. So usually during the week, Monday through Friday, you're working really hard. You're busy. During the weekend, we have a lot more free time. And what do we do when we are bored and have a lot more free time? We like to eat. And what do we do during the weekend? We like to go out and hang out with friends. We have a lot more social situations. And that leads to maybe we need to cycle our calories around the weekend in those social situations. So there's two types of people. There's the people that want to have their macros the same every single day. And then there's the people that want to cycle their calories and their macros around the weekend. So what I'm gonna do in today's video is walk you guys through how to plan for the weekend and how to plan for either 1 day, 2 days, or 3 days, and how that affects the rest of your week. So this video is going to be based on an avatar. I'm going to keep it simple. Somebody that is eating 2,000 calories a day. So first off, before we start, I need you guys to understand that the weekly average is more important than the daily average. So adding up each day's calories and then dividing it by 7, that gives us the weekly average. So for example, if your fat loss calories are 2,000 calories a day, so you could eat 2,000 calories every single day, all 7 days, or you could have ups and downs of your calories. But by the end of the week, if you have that weekly total and divide it by 7 and it still equals 2,000, then you're gonna be just as well off as the person who just ate 2,000 every single day. So we need to understand that before we go further on. So here's our first example. So let's say that you're somebody who plans for Saturday. Saturday is your day and you're gonna get after it, and you wanna plan for a day where you're gonna eat a lot more calories on that Saturday. You're gonna be eating a lot more food, you're gonna be drinking. So how do we plan for that to where the weekly average is still 2,000 calories? So there's a few things you're gonna really need to keep in mind when planning this out. How low can you really go, and how high do you really wanna go? So we need to understand that Sunday through Friday, how low can you go? Like, what is that number to where you're not suffering, but you're just enough that's like getting you to that weekend? Because if you find that fine line, you'll have more to play with on that Saturday. And then also you need to understand, what does that Saturday look like? I need you to chart down and write down, okay, how many calories will I really be taking in that Saturday? And then you can backtrack and see how many do you need to take in each day of those 6 days leading up to that Saturday. So let's say that Saturday you want to take in 3,800 calories. So what you would do is take 2,000 calories, multiply it by 7. What that's going to do is give you 14,000 calories for the weekly calories. So then you're going to take 14,000, subtract 3,800, and that's going to give you 10,200 calories. So then all you'd have to do is divide 10,200 by 6, and that's going to give you a daily caloric total of 1,700 calories for each of those 6 days. And so I think you can see the model here. If you have that 1 day, you need to figure out what that 1 day's total is, and then you backtrack and figure out what do the 6 days totals need to be in order to have that 7th day, and then still have the weekly average be that 2,000, or whatever that weekly average you need it to be in order to reach your goals. All right, so let's go into the next scenario. Let's say you want a Friday and a Saturday that your calories go up a little bit. And so what does that look like? So let's think of a typical Friday. Friday, early in the day, you're busy, you're still at work, but you get off work, and half to a third of the day, you're off work and you might go out that night and have dinner. So in reality, you want to have a little bit more calories than what you normally have. So let's say that you want to have 2,500 calories on that Friday, And then on that Saturday, you want to have 3,000. So what you do is just add 2,500 plus 3,000. That's going to give you 5,500 calories. So just like we did before, you're going to take that 14,000 calories. Remember, that's 2,000 times 7 days. That's going to give us our weekly total calories, and you're going to subtract 5,500. And that's going to leave you at 8,500 calories. And so what you would do is take that 8,500, divide it by 5, and that'll give you 1,700 calories. And so what that's gonna do is give you the number of calories that you need to take in each day of those 5 days leading up to that Friday and Saturday where your calories are higher. All right, so let's move on to the third example. Let's say Monday through Thursday, you're okay with eating lower calorie, and then Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, you're gonna be able to have a little bit more calories. So what I'm keeping in mind when doing these equations is honestly the baseline level. Like, what is that caloric total that to where you're not suffering, but it's a level to where like you're banking up for the weekend, but it's not gonna lead to you feeling extremely deprived. So 1,700 calories is that number I've kind of set for all of these cycling for somebody who's on a fat loss macros of 2,000 calories, but that's gonna vary based on the individual. So let's say that Monday through Thursday, you're gonna be taking in 1,700 calories. Then Friday, you're gonna take in 2,000. Saturday, you're gonna go all the way up to 3,200. Then Sunday, you're gonna go back to 2,000. So you might be thinking, well, 2,000 is my maintenance level. Yes, but in order to make room for the Saturday and then be able to have the Sunday and the Friday be at maintenance level, you're gonna have to go down during the week. So let's do the math again. So let's add up the Fridays, 2,000 calories, Saturdays, 3,200 calories, the Sundays, 2,000 calories. So the total for the whole weekend is 7,200 calories. So then you'd subtract from our weekly total, which is 14,000 calories. Remember, we get that from 2,000 calories each day times 7. And so we subtract 7,200 from that 14,000, and we get 6,800 calories left. And so we just divide that by 4, and that's gonna give us 1,700 calories a day. So you might be thinking, Zach, what do I do on these lower and higher calorie days? So there's a few guidelines I want you to follow when doing this cycling. So on the lower calorie days, I want you to focus on protein. So on your lower calorie days, I want you to up your protein by 10 to 15 grams. This is a little bit higher than normal because what's gonna happen is your carbs and fats are gonna be a little bit lower. And one thing we know about protein, it's muscle saving, it's muscle preserving. So it's gonna help preserve your muscle while the calories are lower, but also it's gonna keep you full. And then on those higher calorie days, I'm gonna have you drop your protein down 10 or 15 grams, and then you would make up the difference with your carbs and fats. It's gonna give you a little bit more leeway. And so if you wanna be super accurate, you would just multiply 175 times 7, that's gonna give you your weekly total of protein. And so remember, on the higher calorie days, you're just gonna drop your protein down a little bit. On the lower calorie days, you're gonna up your protein a little bit, and then you just want that protein total to hit the weekly total at the end of the week. And that's not that important. I just want you to focus on a little bit more protein on the lower calorie days, a little bit less protein on the higher calorie days. So one strategy I like to use earlier in the week is, especially when you're on lower calories, like the 1,700 calorie days, is something called intermittent fasting. And I covered that in a previous video. So what that's gonna look like is during your lower calorie days, more times than not, it's gonna be during the week, and that's when you're super busy with work. So earlier in the day, you're busy with work, and it's as simple as just skipping breakfast. So for example, 1,700 calories seems like a lot more whenever it's in a smaller eating window. So between lunchtime till you go to bed is a lot different than if you were to eat breakfast, lunch, and dinner. So the goal is 1,700 calories throughout the whole day. So if you just use that time when you're really, really busy in the morning, and I cover all these tactics in the previous intermittent fasting video. So if you want to learn how to get started and how to maximize it and how it can really help tremendously, I'd highly recommend you check out that video. I will link it below. But the whole goal is to make 1,700 calories feel like a lot more calories than it really is. So then you could adhere and then have more of those macros for the rest of the week. And lastly, you might be thinking, Zach, how do I track alcohol? Full guide on this, how to track alcohol, how alcohol is metabolized, how to track beer, how to track liquor, how to track wine, and also what are my favorite macro-friendly drinks as well. And that's it, my friends. I want to thank you guys so much for watching. Please give the video a thumbs up. Please subscribe. We have so much more cool content coming. And know that cycling your calories for the weekend is a learning process. And more importantly, cycling your calories around social situations It's something that you get better and better at over time. And so don't be hard on yourself in the beginning. So just give it a try and see how it goes. It's not going to be perfect, but you're going to learn so much about yourself and you're going to get better at it over time. And you're going to see that you can cycle your calories and still reach your goals and fit your nutrition around your lifestyle, because that is truly what we're after. We're after nutritional freedom. So as always, thank you so much for watching. God bless, and we'll see you guys in the next video.